Folks, this condo problem, it's getting worse. I'll get into that and then the latest home prices and insights for condos across the GTA for week ending March 26, 2025. More and more and more condos are sitting on the market unsold, and listings per week, more condos are being listed, fewer are being purchased, and that whole situation that I just described is getting worse. More condos are sitting out there. What are we seeing? We're seeing really a lot of people not understanding, a lot of condo sellers and condo buyers not really understanding the situation. Many are, many don't. I'll give you an example. We put an offer with one of our condo buyers. We put an offer in on a condo. Before we did that though, we researched the sales, we researched what's for sale, we saw a bunch of condos in that building. My client had become an expert at what prices should be. My client's looking at one of 4 buildings. That's it. That's the only place they want to be. There's 4 buildings in this one area. That's where they want to buy. So my client, after a certain amount of time, has become an expert where pricing should be for what they're looking at. They know the models. They know the floor plans. They know exactly what they want in each of these buildings. So we put in an offer on a unit they liked. Our offer was much lower than what the condo was listed at. And there's other similar condos to that for sale that condo's competing with. Now that condo that we put the offer on was actually priced lower than all the other ones. Our offer was rejected. Price was too low. And when I'm speaking to the listing agent, his attitude is, Santo, we're already lower than all the other condos that are listed in that building, similar to the one we're trying to buy. I said, I get it that you're lower, but do you realize when we look at what's sold, you're still too high? And that's what my client's focused on. What's actually sold. Money actually paid for condos. That's what he's looking at. Seller didn't want to hear it, and the agent didn't want to hear it, and their whole attitude is we're the lowest price. Well, being the lowest price doesn't necessarily guarantee you a sale. Being the lowest price could mean you're still too high, and everybody in that building could be too high based on recent sales. We recently sold a condo. We were priced a little higher than some of the other condos that we were competing with, and we were priced a little higher than the ones that recently sold. And right away, in the first week, we had 2 offers that come in. Not at the same time, there were 2 separate offers lower than what we were listed at. They were rejected. Now, when I'm speaking to the buyer's agent and saying, where do you come up with this number for your offer? They tell me the units they're comparing to. But our unit has features that can't compare. Like our unit, there's a reason we priced it where he did. Now, I'm not saying I'm an expert at pricing, but we do our homework. And my client, the seller, bought into, was on board with whatever data was being presented. And when we're looking at the features, we picked a price that logically made sense, and we were sticking to that. And so the first 2 were rejected. It took us a few weeks later, but we ended up selling that condo for about $40,000 more than those original offers that came in. But those original offers, they were adamant that, oh, that's the price. They were telling me how the market is. Do you know the condo market and nobody's selling? Look, there's so much data out there, and there are sellers that are super educated on where the price should be. And then there are sellers pricing it just because they're a little bit lower than all the other similar listings out there. That alone won't do it, because I can guarantee you there are far more educated buyers today than ever before. All these property search sites that they use these sites have a ton of data for the buyers to analyze. They are so educated today. And I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm saying this to all the sellers out there. Be prepared. Buyers know their stuff. Assume that buyers know their stuff. And if they don't, assume the agent will educate their buyers. And if buyers have a specific area they're looking in, even if they don't start off the buying process knowing and understanding prices, after a short period of time of looking at condos and those being sold, and then looking at others and then those being sold, they're going to quickly figure out where pricing should be. They're going to have the floor plans memorized. They're going to know the features. They're going to know what's going on. You can't mess around with that. If you're looking to be sold, I'm not saying you should be the lowest price. Maybe you have features that causes you to be priced a little bit higher, but you need to be able to back it up for different reasons. One, the buyer's going to know where prices should be. I'm telling you, they're so educated these days. But two, if you don't know where you should be, how are you going to say no to the lowball buyer, the buyer that's just trying to buy it cheaper? Because as a seller, you got to be able to turn those down also and be confident, not because you want more, but because legitimately your price makes sense. And if legitimately your price makes sense, your agent should be able to project that to other people looking to buy. And eventually you'll get the price that you want. But it's about knowing the numbers. It's about understanding the numbers. I guarantee you, if you don't, there's other people that do know it, and you're going to be at a loss. So simply pricing it lower than all the other listings doesn't do it on its own. And if the actual real number you should be at, the real number, once somebody tells you the truth, is not your number, it's too low for you, you have the option to not sell. You know that, right? You don't, just because you're on the market is not a guarantee to be sold. 3 out of every 100 condos for sale are selling every week. That's it, 3%. It bounces between 2.5 and 4, so I'm just rounding it to 3. 3% of all condos are selling. Think about that. There's 100 condos. 97 of those do not sell that week. Only 3 sell. It's not always the least expensive condos that are selling. It's the ones that make sense price-wise with the features that they have. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on the link, or you can go straight to tsre.ca. That'll also take you right to my calendar. Pick a date and time that suits you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Folks, at the end of this show, there'll be a link on the screen of a large 1-bedroom plus a large den condo with a great view of the lake. Have a look. We're going to get started here. We're focused on condo apartments for the city of Toronto, for York region, for Peel region. We're going to look at the numbers for each of these regions here. We're going to start off with the city of Toronto. For week ending March 26, sales jumped up. For a while, they were sitting pretty flat at around 150, maybe a little more. But for week ending March 26, sales jumped up to 203 condo apartments being sold. 21 of those sold at $1 million or more. The average sold price, $695,000. So yes, sales jumped up. I'm not yet prepared to say sales are trending up. They have been flat for a while. We'll wait and see what happens over the next few weeks. Average sold price for condos kind of looks like to me overall average prices just slightly maybe are trending upwards. But for this week, it's sitting at 695,000. And when I look at overall, I'm going back to the beginning of February. So we're looking at 8 weeks. Overall, prices are a little bit higher. Compared to last year, 695,000 is 5% lower year over year. The median price of 610,000 is 9% lower versus last year. The dotted line, that's a 4-week moving average. When you look at the 4-week moving average, it's just slightly trending upwards. If we go, say, the middle of February, just slightly. The last 4 weeks or so, maybe climbing up. So I would say prices, it's really tough to read, guys. I got to say, when I'm looking at these charts, it's really tough to figure out. Overall, prices have kind of been flat, maybe trending up, maybe flat. It's really, really tough to say which way prices are going beyond that. Sales, though, we can say beyond a shadow of a doubt, sales, far fewer sales this year than a year ago. And of the 203 that sold, 46 of those, which is 23%, sold at list price or more. But again, fewer sales this year than the same period a year ago. Listings, the opposite. Far more listings this year than the same period a year ago. And active listings, we got way more condos available for sale than we've ever seen before. 5,356 available condos. And I'm just going back. Only 203 sold out of 5,356. Months of inventory did come down a little bit. Well, that's because sales shot up, but 6.1 is the months of inventory. Pretty much a buyer's market. It's pretty clear it's a buyer's market. That's an average of the whole city of Toronto. When we break the city down into 9 different sections, what are we going to see with months of inventory? Well, Scarborough doing a little bit better than the city as an average. It's at 4 months of inventory. Etobicoke also at 4 months of inventory. I want to bring your attention to downtown, though. Downtown has an average sold price of $800,000. 22% sold at list price or more, so a little bit lower than the city as an average. But months of inventory way higher than the city as an average. We're sitting at 10.3 months of inventory. And when we look at how many properties are sitting available for sale just in downtown, 38% of all properties available for sale in the city of Toronto, 38% are right downtown. There's a ton of properties available in downtown Toronto available for sale. Let's take a look at York Region. 37 condos were sold. 2 of those were at $1 million or more. Sales seem to be trending up, not on a weekly basis. They are going up and down, but overall, there's a little bit more, just a little bit more condos being sold in York Region. Average sold price came way down from the previous week to $625,000. I'm not even putting a line there to figure out which way a price is going. It's really tough to say. It's either maybe trending down or flat. It's tough to say. 625 is 9% lower than where the prices were this time a year ago. The median price of $565,000 is 13% lower. The dotted line, kind of flat. The 4-week moving average shows that prices are kind of flat, but then we've got them kind of dropping a couple of weeks in a row. That really hasn't played into yet what the 4-week moving average shows us. So over the next few weeks, we're going to see the direction those prices are going. 37 were sold. 7 sold at list price or more, which is 19%. Listings, far more listings. 962 are available for sale. Active listings, properties, condos available for sale, that's climbing. Months of inventory sitting at 6 months of inventory. Let's look at Peel region. Sales are kind of flat. 28 were sold. One of those was at $1 million or more. Average sold price, I did put an arrow suggesting prices seem to be trending down, even though they're up from the previous week to $595,000. Overall, since beginning of February, looks like prices are going down. $595,000 is 2% higher than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is 1% lower. 28 were sold. 3 of them sold at list price or more, which is 11%. Listings, 964 active listings. So think about that. There's 964 condos available for sale in Peel region. The vast majority of these condos are in Mississauga. 28 sold out of 964. Months of inventory climbed. We're now at 7.9 months of inventory. Here's a quick summary. 6.1, 6, 7.9. We're in a buyer's market when it comes to condos. Sure, there's going to be some condos selling at list price or more. There's going to be some condos where buyers end up competing in, but it is a buyer's market. There's lots of condos to choose from. Now, check out the video of the condo we have listed. It's a large 1-bedroom with a huge den. You can see the lake, a great view of the lake. Have a look at the link.